I prattled on so much about Breath of the Wild that I forgot that there was a second point that I wanted to make when making this video. Um, so so the first video was me being extremely late to something. This video is about me being extremely early to something. So last night, what day is it? 28th. I guess it's the 29th now. I guess on the 26th, on the eve of 26th, I went out and saw this thing. Ta-da. This is a cool, like, limited edition cup with the Infinity Gauntlet. They did the same thing with the Black Panther. That one was like, of course, like Black Panther, like gray, blackish. I like Black Panther, but you know, this is just the Avengers one. I was like, not too not too excited to get the Black Panther cup, but I was like, I saw that they had that, and I was like, what? Oh, and they're selling this again. This is awesome. So I have one of these already. Here, I'll show you. Fucking hell. I bought one. It's right here. Problem was, dogs got to it, so they ate both his hands. And I was like, oh, kind of sad. So, um, and I bought it at the movie theater, and I didn't know where else to get it for cheap, right? Um, I would have to buy it online or something, whatever. But because Spider Man's in the movie theater had these again. So I was like, oh, isn't that weird? You get things from the movie theater now. Like I bought like a Star Wars Funko Pop at a movie theater. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, so I went and saw Infinity War, and I'm not gonna talk about the movie. I liked it. That's the one thing I'm gonna say about that. I think Infinity War is one of those movies where I am gonna be weird about spoilers. I'm usually not that weird about spoilers, but a thing like this, where like this is literally 10 years of Marvel edging out people on Big Purple Raisin Man, and now we finally get the payoff. I think spoiling this movie for someone is just objectively shitty, and I don't think you're allowed to talk about it in public, at least for the next 2 weeks, maybe three. Maybe three, but at the very least, for the first 2 weeks, do not talk openly about this movie. You are not allowed to talk about this movie at all. Do not even allude to it. I went into work, and one of my coworkers immediately was like, "Are you ready to see that Avengers movie?" I was like, "Oh, I already saw it," and she was like, "Oh, finally, I have someone to talk to about it." I'm like, "Okay." In my head, I was like, I don't know, because I don't want to talk about it. As much as I really want to talk about it, I think that it's one of these things where I'm okay with keeping it to myself at the very least for a little while, and at least until the rest of the world catches up. I think this is a secret that we should all share. You know, not something that you should get spoiled on. Like, how shitty would it be to wait 10 years for something, and then someone just comes up to you and just like, this happens, just in a random conversation, right? So I was like, basically, this coworker comes up to me and starts talking to me about full blown spoilers, literally asking me about the end of the movie, and I'm just like standing there, and I'm like, "Have you seen it?" Like to my other coworker who just happened to be standing there, and I didn't want to carry the conversation, not because I didn't want to talk to the person about it, but because it would be shitty of me to engage this person in spoiler conversation. Remember when what is that last when the Deathly Hallows came out, and people from 4chan went out to bookstores. No, it was the Half Blood Prince. When people from 4chan came out into bookstores where the book was being released, and they literally was like, Snape kills Dumbledore, blah blah blah, and like, how shitty is that, right? Like how, like, think of when the first Harry Potter novel was released, all the way up to when Half Blood Prince came out, and just to have someone come up to you and just like, here's what happened. Oh, Luke, Darth Vader's Luke's dad. You know, that's the same reason why, that same exact example, when they were filming it, they didn't tell the guy who played Darth Vader, who will remain nameless apparently. We know his name, I just forgot it. Um, like, his name is public. I just forgot it. Um, like, during filming, they told him that his line was, Obi-Wan killed your father, just so that he wouldn't go out and spoil it, because then it'd be a surprise for everyone in the movie theater. The only people that would know it is George Lucas, this one other guy, and then Mark Hamill. So they're like, here's the line, react to it like that. Um, oh, it was George Lucas, Mark Hamill, and of course James Earl Jones, and then some other guy. So there's like four people knew this secret before the movie came out. But yes, but that's not even what I wanted to talk about. Every time I go to see a movie, opening night or early, anytime I go see anytime I go to see a movie where it's like a midnight showing or whatever, or like it just so happened to be like the movie theater is packed in some sort of way, um, invariably there will always be a kid. There will always be a child that does not know how to be quiet. And this is me coming from like literally one of the very first videos I ever made on YouTube. I can remember that clear, like crystal clear, like the movie, the like, the title of the video was movie theater etiquette, and it was heavily edited, and it was like at least 10 minutes of me talking about don't don't do these things in movie theater. Don't do these things in movie theater. And the one prevailing factor every time I go to see a movie, the one prevailing factor that will always come out is stop bringing your child to the movies. Just stop. Just don't bring your child to the movies. So here's my experience watching Avengers Infinity War Part 1, a movie 10 years in the make, a decade in the making. Like literally waited 10 years for like this movie to come out. Like I'm not a huge like Marvel fan. Like I didn't watch all of the Marvel movies. I only really watched the ones I care about. But even still, I was like heavily invested in it. Like, like or like they were coming out with Infinity War. Like I know how much this means. I don't want to get spoiled on it. You know. Um, the whole time, the movie, I was trying to enjoy the movie. I had the backing track of some kid that does not know how to be quiet. And my thing is, look, I'm not gonna sit there and kill the enjoyment of some kid who wants to see superheroes on the movie theater. If some kid wants to go see a superhero movie, and if they freak out if they see their favorite superhero, like oh they go Spider-Man, like fine, right? I get it. I fucking get it. I was never that child because I know how to act in a movie theater, but I will say that I'm not gonna begrudge the child that goes out and just sees their favorite superhero on the big screen and they freak out because I totally understand that. I feel like I would be the same way if I was like, you know what, if you're like in an alternate universe somewhere out there, I was a child watching The Dark Knight, and I was like, oh, he's Batman. Somewhere out there exists an alternate universe where I'm that shitty kid. So I could totally see that. But me as an adult, I can look back on my life and know that even back then, I was never that kid that would sit in a movie theater and like just yell at full volume on top of the action, on top of when the characters are talking, whatever. Right? I was never that kid. The only time I ever did that was at church. And even then, I was told to be quiet. So I shut the fuck up because that's rude. Anyway, um, I missed my point. Oh, just stop bringing your child. Just stop bringing your kids to a movie. Okay, say you're a parent, right? And you want to go see a movie late at night, but you can't find a babysitter. Guess what? You're not seeing that movie tonight. Guess what? Watch it some other day when you can leave the kid alone so that you don't ruin everyone else's movie experience. Like, I can honestly say that I'm not the only one that was pissed off that kid. I can 100% guarantee that I'm not the only kid. No, I'm not the only kid. I'm not the only one who was annoyed with that kid because he was in the corner of the room speaking at full volume, speaking full blown sentences, and his parents weren't doing jack shit. His brother was not doing jack shit. I turned over, they were just sitting there quietly, like not saying anything, hoping that their kid will shut up. I'm like, no, 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 be proactive. If you're part of the problem, like if you go into a club, actually, you know what? Here, let's nix that analogy and let's use a real life analogy of my life. So my friends invited me to a bar, and long story short, I got very, very, very drunk. Guess what? And when I got drunk, they didn't just let me, get drunk. They took care of me. They made sure that um They made sure that I wasn't drinking a lot. They made sure that I had like water on me. They made sure that I kept drinking more water than I had alcohol. And even the bartender apparently was getting in on it too, which is a new fact for me. Guys, wait, what? Like, I was just told this, like this incident happened like a month ago. I would say. And I was just told about this like a few days ago that apparently even the bartender was like watching out and just like watering my drinks down. So like props to him. I felt super bad because I thought I was being very, very loud, which I'm pretty sure I was. Anyway, but yeah, in that instance, because my group, like I was part of the group, um the group became part of the problem if they don't say anything. Uh So if someone from your group is being a problem, you handle that shit because you are now responsible for that person whenever they act up. Um, the fact that only every once in a while will the father go shh very quietly. He would do that. Shh, be quiet, and then the kid would continue to speak at full volume, and they don't ever say anything because you know what I think, because I feel like if they say anything else, the kid will cry, and the kid will not shut up, and they don't want to get kicked out of the theater because they want to see the movie too, regardless of if there's a child full blown speaking the whole time. My thing is, my other thing is, um, oh, that was my point, right? Because I mentioned I will not begrudge a kid that will get excited if they see their favorite superhero on the big screen, right? I have to say, this kid cannot have been more than 5 or 6 years old. I would say 4, because he could barely speak. Maybe 7, if I'm being generous. I feel like at 7 years old, if you don't know how to sit down and shut the fuck up in a movie theater, someone has failed you. Um, but I would say this kid's about 5 years old. Does not know manners yet. Um, when did Avengers 1 come out? Let's just check. Let me just check that real quick, okay? Let's just take the time and actually let's just do a quick Google search. Let's do a quick Google search. What is that? Oh, that's the Persona 5 logo. I guess that was the last thing I was looking at. Avengers movie. I'm gonna get a bunch of results for like Infinity War. So okay, the Avengers came out in 2012, which was um 6 years ago, which means that this kid would have had to have been a fetus by the time that movie came out. What enjoyment is this child getting from watching this? Like because here's the difference. Like with all the other Marvel movies, they're kind of like self-contained. You can like watch it front to end without a lot of context. I mean, if you watch Thor 2, you kind of want to know what happened when Thor 1, right? I mean, I guess that's a bad example because I heard the Thor movies are awful. But okay, let's say like Guardians 2, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You watch that, you kind of want to know the context from Guardians 1, right? You kind of want to understand. They might make some callbacks. They might make some references. Why are they using a bunch of 80s music? You know? Um but Avengers Infinity War is literally like the confluence of like a decade's worth of movies. And so even if a child is there just to yell Spider-Man every time Spider-Man comes up, or laugh whenever the Hulk gets punched in the face, um is it really so much of a crime to say that maybe not let children into this movie? You know what? Scratch that. I feel like movie theaters should have an age limit. I think you should have to pass a certain age of reason before you're allowed into a movie theater. I don't think you should be allowed into a movie theater until you hit double digits. Yeah, I don't think you should be allowed into a movie theater until you hit the age of 10, and even at that, you're kind of pushing it. I would say you're not allowed to see a movie theater. You're not allowed to see a movie in a movie theater until you're like a teenager, and that can present its own set of problems. But um, at the very least, I would stand to reason that telling a teenager these are the rules, they'll rebel. They'll think about it. They'll get angry, but at least they can reason out. Some of them at the very more than a toddler would, can reason out that speaking in a movie theater might be considered rude. You know, like why is this part of our culture? Why do so many people relate to the fact that oh, there's the guy carrying like a baby, and now I'm just if next time I feel like if I see a guy come in with a child in a movie theater, I'll just walk out because because I there's no way I'm gonna enjoy that movie. Um, but if it's because I've done this a couple of times where I just go to the movie theater by myself. I usually go with friends. I usually go with someone. That's fine, at least one other person, right? But um, once or twice I'll go to a movie by myself. But in those instances, usually it's a movie that's like not really all that jam packed. I think the latest I went to go see was Isle of Dogs, which the only other person in the theater was literally this elderly woman and her daughter, and that's it. And both of them were old enough to know to shut up during a movie, or like only talk in hushed tones so that I wouldn't, my enjoyment of the movie would not be mitigated. But toddlers don't know how to whisper. They don't know how to stage whisper. All they know is speak at full volume and then yell. Um, so that's my review of the movie. It was really great, except for all the parts where the kid was talking, and I just hate children, and I hate them in movie theaters, and I really wish that there was some sort of special rule where we can't have kids in movie theaters anymore. It's just how many times like a kid talking in a movie theater is like a war crime. Like I hate it. Like why do we put up with this? Why is this part of our culture? Why do we as a collective species know about this phenomenon, and why don't we do anything about it? Why can't it be a rule? Why can't we turn those people away? Why can't that be a rule where like, oh sorry, if you have a child on you, we have to have them like there should be like maybe movie theaters should expand to have like a daycare area. Like sacrifice one of the auditoriums to be a daycare area where they can all watch the same movie, and they can all yell and be loud at each other, and that way everyone else that knows how to be quiet can just watch the movie. Oh, and if you're an adult and if you talk very loudly during a movie, guess what? You sit in the daycare room with everyone else. You can watch any movie you want. You'll watch the same movie, but you'll be with other people that like to talk loud. And I just hate the notion of going to a movie theater, this public space where a bunch of people, where the intended movie experience is, shut up, watch the movie. I don't understand these people who go to a movie theater to hang out with friends and talk. Like it's acceptable if you're at home. If you're at home watching a movie, the reason why that's acceptable is you can pause the movie and you can rewind it. You can literally ask, "Hey, can you rewind that? We were talking and I couldn't hear." You can't do that at a movie theater. Like if you miss something because the person next to you was talking, fuck you, you're screwed. And that's why I hate it. That's all.